Welcome back to Trots TV. There is a big meeting coming up at Menangle on Saturday night. 3 feature races. They've got a City Trainers final, which is for the C1, C2 paces worth just over $20,000. They've also got a Group 3, the Hayter's Timber Pace, and that was for horses that qualified in heats last week. And there's also the free-for-all with Bowtide going around. So I thought I'd have a look at those 3 races and see if we can come up with a winner or two for you on the weekend. So we start with race number 4. This is the City Trainers. It's a C1, C2, and the horses qualified on the 29th of March. A couple of interesting performers here, and my on-top selection is a horse by the name of the Boys G&P. Now, what you won't see from the replay is the fact that the horse was going to miss the start 50 or 60 metres. He didn't want to score up, and therefore John McCarthy was forced to chase the gate extremely hard. And as they let them go, he was at top speed and he was able to kick through and hold the front. However, the damage had been done. He'd spent a lot of petrol to chase the gate, and understandably, he got tired in the final 50 metres of this race. And, you know, if you don't know what's happened in the lead-up, it probably can look a little disappointing, considering you take into consideration that they went 158.7 and they did get a breather in the second quarter of 30.8. But I think we can forgive the Boys G&P for that. He's a talented pacer. He's had a few runs back from a spell. In fact, this will be his 3rd run back from a spell, so he should be nearing peak fitness. And I think he's the way to go in the race, despite drawing out in gate number 7. Hardest to beat? Well, I think number 5, Admiral Bronski, can run a good race. Didn't show a lot of speed in the heat, and I was looking for runs on the rain-affected track at Menangle. Hit the line well, was able to get a run up on the inside. I think he looks the main danger. He didn't win his heat. That heat was won by Sally Fletcher, but she had her full head of steam up and was able to continue down the outside, where Admiral Bronski had a few little traffic issues, and he was weaving back to the inside and finished in 2nd spot. I'll tip him to run 2nd. I think Sally Fletcher is the 3rd chance in this race, because of she's drawn okay, but she finished the race off extremely well when she did hit top gear for Paul and Gavin Fitzpatrick last time out, and she got home in 56.4 on that occasion with the lead, or the final quarter, in 27.6. So that was a good performance. She's the 3rd pick for mine, and I've thrown in number 12, One Hell of a Ride. Now, it actually ran 3rd in the Come Collect heat, but hit the line extremely well. Jimmy Douglas was having to do some pushing halfway up the straight to try and get a clear run. He never really gets into clear air. J-Dan all over the top of him in the last 150 metres of the race, but I really liked the way the horse wanted to find the line. And One Hell of a Ride. He's a talented pacer. He can do a few things wrong, but when he consents to trot and pace, I should say, when he consents to pace throughout and leave with them, he's got a lot of ability. So I've put him in for 4th. My numbers in race number 4. They are 7, the Boys G&P, to beat 5, Admiral Bronski. I've thrown in 6, Sally Fletcher, and number 12, One Hell of a Ride, 7, 5, 6, and 12. Race number 5, this is the Group 3, the Hayter's Timber Pace, and despite drawing barrier number 11, I think Tactate is the way to go in this race. Tactate went around in the Chariots of Fire, wasn't disgraced in that race, couldn't have been more impressive in its heat last week, was able to work to the front on that occasion, and just showed how classy it was when it was able to slip home in a very impressive quarter. I guess the concern, obviously, is the barrier draw. It's drawn inside the 2nd row, and the main danger, Wingara, has drawn the front row and should or will settle in front of it. So that's the concern. Big decision for Amanda Turnbull to make. She's on the back of a fast beginner in Eric Clapton. So does she push through and look for a bit of luck with Tactate, or does she try and come off as soon as she can? Look, I think Tactate's going places. He's a son of McCardle. He's won 9 of 24. He's been in great form since arriving in Australia, and I think he's going to take a lot of beating despite that 2nd row draw. Hardest to beat is number 4, Wingara. He was an impressive heat winner. Worked to the front and was able to sprint home in 28.2 and 27.5. Now, if he rolls across to the front on Saturday night and gets left alone, and Tactate has traffic issues, well, he's obviously the one to beat. I think in one out situation, I think Tactate would have Wingara's measure, but they're obviously not racing one out on Saturday night. So he definitely does have a winning chance, especially if he's able to find the front in the race. They're the top 2, and clearly the top 2 for mine. I think number 1, Eric Clapton, can run a good race from the barrier. Obviously a very fast beginner. from barrier 1, should be able to make its own luck. Was a winner 2 starts ago at Newcastle when it showed gate speed, and then last time out ran second behind Wingara when not beaten all that far. Eric Clapton ran a pretty good race on that occasion. I can see a similar scenario happening in the final in terms of where they will race and how they settle down. And, well, the best of the rest, number 13, Strathlachlan Andy. He's been a favourite of mine for quite some time. He's back in winning form. Couldn't have been more impressive when he won at Menangle 4 starts ago, and then he backed that up with a win in the Armidale Cup 2 starts back. He did miss the placings in the heat, but if the speed's on and they don't back off in the middle stages, expect Strathlachlan Andy to be rattling home. So my numbers in race number 5, the Haters Timbers Pace, the Group 3, 11 Tactate to beat 4 Wingara, 1 Eric Clapton, and number 13, Strathlachlan Andy. Race number 6, it is the Royal Hotel Camden Pace, and we see Bowtide back at the races. He's over the 2,300 metres. He's drawn the inside of the back row. Not that that will matter. Rival drivers will be waiting to see James Rattray make the move, and you'd assume that James will be off the inside as soon as the mobile lets them go, and then as soon as the pace backs off, he'll take off, and by the time they get the bell, I would assume that he will be in front. He's got the wood on these paces. He was very good last time out, and there's no reason that he can't get straight back into the winners list after that third placing at Kilmore last time out. Keep in mind that he was very good at Menangle, winning last time he was here. After the defeat came in the Miracle Mile, he was a winner over the 2,300 metres last time he raced at Menangle, and he should be able to beat up on this opposition quite comfortably. Hardest to beat, number 10, Montefieth. Now, he ran a cheeky race last week when finishing 3rd behind Frith. He came from a long way back on that occasion, was forced to sprint home very quickly. We've seen what he can do in these sorts of races when the likes of Bowtide aren't in the field. He can be very competitive, and he has won a few of these sorts of races with Bowtide out. So I think despite the wide draw, he's the main danger. John McCarthy's got a few options too. He can grab hold at the start, and then if Bowtide starts to make his move, he can go in front of Bowtide and maybe get up on the speed that way, but that may mean that he's forced to do a fair bit of work in the race. I thought number 4, Better Draws run last week was very good behind Frith. Gave the Supermare something to chase in the last 800 metres of the race when Frith arrived up outside Better Draw. Better Draw kept on finding to the line, and it won't be too long before Narissa McMullen picks up a win with him in this sort of company. And of the rest, number 5, Blazon and Cullen, just ran up onto heels last week at a vital stage, but still wanted to find the line. He's one of these horses that can't really make his own luck, and he's going to settle in midfield. He'll have to come with the one run, and if Bowtide does find the front, it could be set up for those horses that are just camped around the lead. But I do think Blazon and Cullen does have a quick enough sprint to overcome the obstacles that he's got in front of him on Saturday night. So the numbers in race number 6, they are 11 Bowtide to beat 10 Montefieth, 4 Better Draw, and number 5 Blazon and Cullen. Best bet on the program. Go to race number 3. She's a pretty tough mare to catch. Number 5, Tact Haley's Delight, but she should really relish getting back into C3, C5 company. She did race in this grade going back 3 or 4 runs back, and she was beaten. But keep in mind that she's been racing the likes of Smolder in her last half dozen starts or so. She wasn't disgraced last time out. She really hit the line solidly once she got to the outside. And as long as she can find a good spot in the early stages and Darren Binskin can cuddle her until the last little bit and then ask her to extend, I really think that it's going to take some beating. So the best bet for me on the night, on a pretty tough program, is in race 3, number 5, Tact Haley's Delight. That's a look at the Menangle meeting on Saturday night. Of course, continue to enjoy all of your harness racing over the weekend, especially in New South Wales. We'll catch you again on Trots TV for a feature race preview next week.